All right, guys, so the reality of the situation is ever since Dodge stopped making the Hemi and the Hellcat engines, right, and the Challenger, to be quite honest with you, all we have left is what's on the dealership lot and what is on the used market at this point, right? If you want a new Hellcat or a new Scatpack, if it's not on the dealership lot, you'll never get it. If you want a Hellcat or a Scatpack or an RT or a GT or whatever the case may be, at this point, you're looking at the used car market, okay? The reason that benefits us as Mopar owners, as Hellcat, Scatpack, RT owners, right? We already have our cars. We're literally sitting in investments. You may not realize it, but depending on the condition of your car, you could be sitting on a legitimate investment, sitting in a legitimate investment. If you're going to hold on to your Hemi going into 24, 25, 26, and 27, you've got to realize that these cars will no longer be produced ever. You'll never see big 6.2 liter supercharged HEMI V8 powered engines produced in the future. So you're literally sitting in something that will not exist going forward, which means when it's time for you to sell, if you choose to sell, you can pretty much name your price. Let's talk about it. What's up, guys? It's your boy Knockout 360 here with another video, man. So as you can tell, I'm in a car that makes this a car blog. You already know how it's going down. To come around, let's get into it. Car content, car shows, car reviews, car meets, anything and everything car related happens on this channel. So if you're into that, make sure that you stick around. For everyone else, hit that subscribe button as well as the notification bell so that you know what's coming out and when it's coming out, right? Make sure that you subscribe because I've got good content coming your way. A lot of content coming your way, as always. Good and some crazy stuff. But anyway, since Dodge stopped making the Hemi and the Hellcat, and they stopped making it as of December 22nd, and even with the 300, they stopped making the 300 December 17th, so a couple days before the Hellcat, the Hemi, and the Challenger died, right? The Hellcat, the Hemi, and the Challenger no longer exist, and the 300. What you've got to realize is that if you want a new Charger or Challenger, whether it's a GT, RT, Scatpack, Hellcat, Red Eye, whatever the case may be, your only option is hoping that a dealership near you has it on the lot. If a dealership near you has it on the lot, then you can go and get it. You got to pay to play, so you're pretty much up to their price because, you know, depending on what you want, you may not ever see it or find it anywhere else. So you're at the mercy or the discretion of the dealership, but you can still go to the dealership and get it if they have it. If they don't have it, however, you're up to the discretion of the used car market, right? Now let's take a look at some of these cars that I'm looking at here, the used car market, right? All right, so boom, this is just in North Carolina, right? All over North Carolina. 2020 Dodge Charger, Scatpack wide body. They want 70 for it, 70,500. Nope, I'll take that back. That's not a Scatpack, that's a Hellcat. 2020 Dodge Charger Hellcat with 20,000 miles, wide body. They want 70,500. 21 Dodge Charger Scatpack with 17,000 miles. They're asking for 49,900, which is basically 50. 2018 Dodge Challenger SRT Hellcat, right? Wide body. 22,000 miles, they're still asking for 55. 21 Dodge Charger RT Scatpack slim body, they still want 4,800 for it, and that one only has 383 miles on it. 2019 Dodge Charger Scatpack slim body, 47,000 miles, they still want 37 for it. And then of course, what are we looking at here? What else do we have? 2020 Dodge Charger RT Scatpack, 10,000 miles, they're asking for 40. So at this point, these cars are going on 3 to 4 years old, right? In some cases, I think we talked about a 2018 Challenger Hellcat, so that's going on 5 years old. One thing that I'm noticing about these cars is even though around this time Dodge was still making new cars, these cars hold their value. And I think that they're going to hold their value even better or even more now that the Hemi, the Hellcat, and the Challenger no longer exist. Because at the end of the day, now there is a void in the market that can't be fulfilled just by going to your dealership and placing your order for whatever you want. Basically, you have to take what's out there. You have to take what's available. And as of right now, you can still go to a Dodge dealership and get a brand new Charger or Challenger, depending on whether or not they have it. But a year from now, you won't be able to do that. You know, Chargers and Challengers, the Hemis that we know it, will no longer be on the dealership lots. So in other words, you're going to have to find other ways to get what you want. Now, that's only if you're on the buyer side. If you're on the seller side, I think you're really going to benefit from this because you're really sitting on an investment. If you have kept up with your 2018, 2019, 21, 22, and 23 going into the future, whether it's a Scatpack or a Hellcat, now, you know, like I know, you're going to get more money for the big engines, the Scats, the Cats, the Red Eyes, the Demons and so on and so forth. You're going to get more money for those than you would maybe an RT or a 3.6 or, you know, something like that. But if you're able to keep these cars in good condition, if you decide to sell, because a lot of you guys said in my previous video that you're going to hold on to your car as long as you can, and I don't blame you. I'm holding on to mine as long as I can. But if you ever decide to sell, you should know that you're sitting on an investment. The reason that I showed you all of these cars is to let you know that going back as far as 2018, you should still be able to get $55,000, $60,000+ for these cars. Now, mind you, all of these cars kind of have something in common. They're relatively low miles. Like I think the highest mileage one that I mentioned was 47,000. Now, granted, right now, 47,000 doesn't sound like a lot, or maybe it does sound like a lot simply because this was 47,000 for a 2019. But 2-3 years from now, or at least a year from now, maybe 2 from now, when you can't find these cars anywhere, you'll be happy to jump in a 47,000 mile Dodge Charger Scatpack if that's a car that you've always wanted. And that's assuming that, you know, the market hasn't completely moved on from scats and cats and people aren't interested in these cars. But I really think the market's going to be around for these cars at least another year, year and a half, maybe 2, you know. So assuming you keep your car in good condition going into the future, you are sitting on an investment when the time comes for you to either trade it in for something else or completely sell it outright. You should be able to name, I don't want to say name your price, but name a good price that benefits you, because these cars are no longer around. You're not going to see any more naturally aspirated big V8 muscle car performance SRT pages, leather seats, sunroof sedans pushing 700 horsepower doing 200+ miles an hour. You're never going to see that in the future. Now, you may see sedans in the future that can do 200 miles an hour, but they're not going to be powered the same way that these cars are powered currently. I'm saying all that to say, I really believe that holding on to your car, if you do decide to hold on to your Hemi, right, whether it's a Scat, a RT, or a Cat, I really believe, provided you're keeping it in good condition, you're sitting on an investment. When the time comes for you to sell, you should be able to do so. I mean, 2019 Dodge Charger SRT Hellcat, it's got 22,000 miles, it's a slim body. They're asking for $62,997. That's in 2019, and it's a slim body, and they're still asking for 60+. 2020 Dodge Charger Hellcat, this is the first generation of wide bodies. This one's got 20,000 miles. They're asking for 68 too, almost 70. Let's look at another one. 2020 Dodge Charger Hellcat wide body in the white with the black stripes, 12,000 miles, once again low mileage. They're asking for $71,400, $70,000 for a 2020. And then a 21 Dodge Charger SRT red eye, this one's only got 2,000, so that doesn't quite make any sense. They want 86 for it. But one thing that you're learning, guys, is that if you can keep the miles relatively low on the car, keep it in good condition, you will get your return and your investment back on this. Trust me when I say that. We are sitting on investments because these cars would no longer exist in the future, right? And I mean, right now we'll look at it and say, oh, you know, 55,000 or 60,000 for a 2020 Hellcat that's got 47,000 miles. That's crazy. We say that now because we can go out and shop around for a better price in a more recent year. But imagine a year from now or 2 years from now when you can't just go on cargurus.com or go to your local Dodge dealership and find one of these cars. If you're really in the market for a naturally aspirated 6.4 liter or supercharged Hellcat, you will take whatever you can get your hands on. And if you're on the other side of that equation and you're the seller, you know that there is a void in the market, and you know the fact that you're sitting on this investment, and you can name your price relatively, you know, relative to the condition of the car, the mileage, so on and so forth, you know. A lot of people in my previous video where I basically said, is it time for us to sell our Hellcats and Scatpacks? A lot of people said that you're keeping them, and I don't blame you. Hold on to them, keep them. You're paying for them, you paid for them. You know, like I know these cars will never exist again. Hold on to them, keep them. I don't blame you one bit. But if the time comes where you decide to sell, or you choose to sell, or maybe you want to trade in for something else, provided you've got low mileage or relatively low mileage, it doesn't have to be 10, 15, 20,000 miles. People drive their cars, right? I mean, as long as you've got something, some sort of decent mileage on your car, your engine's in good condition, you should be able to name a good price that works for you. You know what I'm saying? Regardless of it being a Dodge, a lot of people have this mindset, oh, it's a Dodge, it's a Chrysler product, it's not going to move anything. You're crazy. These cars hold their values. The Scatpacks and the Hellcats, especially Hellcats and up, they hold their value really well, you know? So when the time comes for you to sell, you should know that you're sitting on a valuable car for for the most part, a valuable car that people want that they can't just readily go and get, you know? And like I said, I'm assuming that the market for these cars are going to hang around for another year and a half, 2 years maybe. And then, of course, we'll move on. You know, we'll go on to electric, we'll go on to Ford and Chevy, we'll go on to something else, you know, and then these cars will be left in the past. But I mean, as big of an impact as these cars made in culture and society, you know, I don't think it's going to be just that easy to just move on. Like, my DMs are flooded with people that are still trying to get Hellcat Scatpacks and RTs. So I don't foresee these cars just dying off anytime soon. I think there's going to be a used car market for these cars at least another year and a half, maybe 2. You know, people are still going to be looking for these cars going into the future. So for you guys out there that are contemplating selling, like I said, or like you told me in the comments, hold on to it. You're sitting on that investment. Hold on to it for a little bit longer. And if you decide to sell or trade in, you should know that you're sitting on a relatively valuable car. You know, you should be able to get your money's worth. Now, like I said, it all depends on a couple factors. You know, the quality of the car. You know, the condition of the car, the mileage of the car. What accidents have you been in? All of these things factor in. You know, like I know, whenever it's time to upgrade or trade in, the first thing they say is, you know, have you been in an accident? How many miles do you have? So on and so forth. Have you had any issues with the car? The less issues, the less miles, the less accidents, no accidents, the more money you're like to get, the more money you're likely to get in return for your car. So I'm saying all that to say, guys, for you guys that's going to hold on to your Hemis, hold on to them. Don't sell them. Don't trade them in just yet. Hold on to them. Because I really believe that these cars are going to be more valuable in the future than they are right now. Right now, you can still go to a dealership and get you a brand new 23 Charger or Challenger, which is technically not brand new because it is 2024. So it's technically last year's model, but you guys know what I mean. Brand new in the sense it's never had an owner. It's fresh off the dealership floor. You know what I mean? But, you know, 6 months from now, 3 months from now, a year from now, we won't be able to say that. And what you see is what you'll get. And that's all that'll be out there. Now, if you're the buyer, that sucks because you're probably going to have to pay for it. But if you're the seller and you know what you got and you know your worth and your market value, you should be able to get a pretty penny in return for your car. So talk to me, guys. How do you feel about that? Does that make sense at all? That these cars are going to be valuable in the future up to a certain point? Obviously, I don't think they're going to be valuable 10 years from now or 15 years from now. I'm talking about in the short-term future. I'm talking about, what, 2 to 5 years, 2 to 3 years, 2 to 4 years. I think these cars are going to still hold their value for a little while, right? Talk to me. How do you feel about it? Like, subscribe, comment. It's been your boy Knockout 360. I'll see you in the next one, man. Peace.